These handles have just a push-in button, and they're held on with a Phillips screw. Here is the little warning label I was talking about that surrounds the stem, so it warns you against taking this retainer nut here off the wrong direction. There's just a couple little flats on it. So clockwise to loosen. And then the cartridge itself is counterclockwise to loosen. Okay, as you can see in this body, it's this portion of it's plastic, but what we've tried to do from the underneath side here is to maintain metal encased shanks so that we don't have the breakage and problems that we've had in the past. The mounting nuts are still the plastic ones that we have always used. So they go up finger tight against the bottom, just nice and snug with your fingers, and it holds the faucet in place nicely. If you want to pass that around. I don't know if you guys want to see any of this. Now, we've got this hybrid style, and we also have products that are still made with all brass, low lead brass, usually a rod type material rather than a cast brass to keep the lead levels down. I believe that's the widespread product here. Yeah. As you can see on the all metal body, we just use the cartridge itself still turned into a certain torque to keep it from backing out, whereas with the plastic one we didn't have to have we had to have a retainer nut. It's an all brass body for the widespreads, and this feature here, I don't know if you've seen it before, but you can allow for thicker material by, you can go this thick, or if you need to, you take this off, turn it over, and then you can get more length, this much more length for thicker granite materials. Of course, you take the screws out and put them in from the other direction. The feature that we'd like to point out here is the fact that we use these screws rather than just a nut by itself. Once you get this up and close, fingers snug and everything else, you don't have to worry about getting a basin wrench or anything up in behind there if you're doing it while it's mounted and trying to get a good tight grip on it. You can reach under there and use a nut driver or a Phillips or something like that to drive these screws in nice and tight, and that'll tighten that valve up and keep it from turning. So. You guys are watching how these all come apart. There's a test later, right? A little difference on our what we call the builder products versus the classic is the classic has a flexible connector that is actually, I'm sorry, did I say the classic or the builder? The builder's has the Y shape, and it is basically a union connection, so that after you mount it and everything, you put this nut on. You position this where you want it, and then you tighten this nut up. It's like a compression fitting. So you can put that in any direction you want to, so that the hoses from the end valves can come into there without interfering with the pop-up rod or whatever else might be used with this drain. As you can see, there is a recessed aerator here. Nice clean look, nothing hanging down. Makes it pretty nice to visually. Sure. There's a key that comes with it, and there's a couple of notches in there that it's kind of like a vandal-proof aerator is what it is.
Now, does the Maxwell has a plastic pop-up, or is it brass also?
There is 3 versions of, well, actually 6 versions of the Maxwell. There's, first of all, there's metal handles, and then there's acrylic handles. You got 3 and 3. You have a no pop-up version, which has a button in the pop-up hole, so you can convert it to a pop-up lav if you want to. You have a plastic pop-up drain version, and then you have a metal drain version. So a 40133 is a metal handle less, or 143 is a metal handles less pop-up or less drain. 144, I got the old numbers in my mind, has the plastic pop-up, and the 145 has a brass drain with it. While we're at that point, we might as well discuss the lav drain changes. We have, as you see here, the drain that we're using in the builder's line, and then we have what we call the Gerber Classic drains. As you can see, the biggest difference is the finish of a classic drain. It's all chrome plated, tailpiece and everything, removable tailpiece, and versus the unplated one here. What we have done because of some concerns in the field by some of the plumbers, is to assure that we still have the drain can open up as far as the Gerber Classic. We wanted to make sure that the drain will fit through the same thickness of VC that's out there, the maximum allowable. And we've made sure that the rod here will, when it's not in the vandal-proof mode, which means it's not in the loop, vandal-proof means that the rod goes through here so that inside you just can't lift it out of there without taking the horizontal rod out of the drain itself. So when it's sitting here, it's in the non-vandal-proof and it can be pulled out and easily cleaned. That's more for residential and things like that. A benefit of putting it into the vandal-proof, even in a home, when you pull up on the rod, it actually fully seats it into place and makes sure it's a nice tight seal. So it's not that hard to reach underneath, loosen that nut a bit and pull that out to clean your drain. So I'd recommend that to everybody, but that's my preference. And
hook, or is it just a rod?
it's actually a rod that goes through. It is not the same part as for both of them, but it's the same principle. The rod goes through this hole here and actually connects through that like that. So it runs up and down. In the non-vanderproof, it just sits here. You can rotate that any place you want to in a non-vanderproof, but you point that towards the side connection, and that will fit right in there when you assemble it. You just push it all the way down, put this in basically horizontally, and thread it into the body.
So that non-vanderproof, the rod's not even through the pop-up?
It's not through the pop-up, it just sits on that little pad. Right, that right there.
It's still well,
There's always some resistance to changes like this, but as long as we can cover the concerns to make sure that it performs and things better, that's the main thing. So many of the builders' faucets are installed in a lavatory situation where they got a pedestal or a cabinet or something like that anyhow. So it really doesn't need to be chrome plated like the old exposed wall hung or the ones with a post under it or anything like that. I wanted to show you a Maxwell kitchen faucet as well. Does anybody see what I did with the Allen wrench? There it is, right there. I'm glad somebody was paying attention. I wanted to show you one thing. Even in the Maxwell line, we're still using that same ceramic cartridge. So it can be used in where it was originally all the way through the current products. We have only one change to that, and that's in the Logan Square single handle faucet. We've used a different cartridge, a little bit smaller cartridge to get the body size down a little bit. I did not have that on hand right now. And who put this on so tight? I think I did. Yep. Do it the way you're not supposed to do it. I didn't do that.
I didn't see it.
Okay. What we have here is, again, a hybrid type faucet. This being the plastic. We still have the O-rings here for the seals. We have the plastic friction washer so that the spout doesn't come down and rub against here. And some improvements that we've done on the Maxwell faucet versus some the older ones, the leaded ones. We've added a square plate here versus a half moon shape. That's given us more rigidity as far as the screws loosening, moving back and forth. And wanted to open that up. I keep losing my tools. There it is. And show you our transition from the plastic body into the copper tubes here. Because I'm sure this question is going to come up. Everybody says, is that going to be strong enough? And I was one of the very first ones to ask that question. I said, how much strength does that hold? And the factory keeps saying that, well, it'll hold enough and everything else. And I said, how much is enough? I said, well, 200-pound man coming in there and grabbing hold of stainless steel hose and pulled himself in underneath the cabinet going to be enough? Well, they quit pulling at 300 pounds, so we know that this one little screw, let me get this out of the way. This one little screw here that holds these 2 copper tubes, and when you're in a spray version, you'll have another tube here for the spray. That will hold 300 pounds of straight pull down force. Now, this screw goes into what we call a metal insert that's molded into the body. So that's part of the reason why it has so much strength. So you don't have to worry about those things getting jerked around and pulled out and things like that.
The handle torquing over time and not breaking down the plastic?
We have not had any issues with that yet. Of course, we've just gotten into the lead-free versions of that. We've had more issues with the leaded one, that the O-ring's tightening up on us, and eventually the body starts working loose from the shell plate here, and that was one of the reasons why we redesigned this plate versus the half-moon shaped one that was in there.
Is there any kind of an option for longer supply tubes?
No, not on this faucet. Some of our other faucets will have flexible connectors, stainless steel braided hoses. None of them will have the poly tube or the PEX tubes. They will all have the stainless steel braided tubes or copper connections like that. Is there any other questions about the lead-free portions of this?
Is that gasket on the body for the spout, is that what keeps it from the spout from leaking?
On
Spout leaks?
on this one here?
Yeah. Or
No,
does that just keep it off the chrome?
that just keeps it off the chrome. There's actually 2 O-rings here and here that the spout rubs on and keeps it from leaking there.